trapped 12 feet deep between the rocks. This man is waiting for the last few moments of his life. For the past 100 hours, he has been sitting all alone in the Canyonlands National Park of the U.S., with his arm pinned beneath a 360-kilogram boulder. In these deserted valleys, there is no one around to hear his screams, and no way to call for help. After fighting for his life for 5 long days, he finally picked up his camera with one hand and began recording his last moments, so that after he was gone, the world would know what really happened inside this narrow crack of Blue John Canyon. Welcome once again to iFlare TV videos. Viewers, Aron Ralston was born on October 27, 1975, in the city of Marion, Ohio. He was only 12 years old when he started taking part in skiing and backpacking at his high school. Gradually, his passion grew, and soon he was learning other adventure sports, like rafting and hiking. Aron was so devoted to adventure sports that he left his 9-to-5 job and began giving all his time to them. After quitting his job, he moved straight to Aspen, Colorado, a small resort town surrounded by rocky mountains and snow-filled peaks, a place that remained an open playground for skiing and mountaineering all year round. And here, his passion was about to turn into obsession. Before leaving his job, Aron had already chosen 3 climbing projects that he wanted to achieve during his annual holidays. First, he wanted to climb all 59 of Colorado's 14 airs, the peaks higher than 14,000 feet. Second, he wanted to climb all those mountains in winter, setting a world record. And third, he wished to climb the highest peaks of all 50 U.S. states. By the end of 2002, when he finally quit his job, Aron had already climbed 36 of those 14 airs during winter. And now that he was fully available for the world of climbing, this record-breaking goal seemed much closer. After leaving his job, he went on many dangerous hikes with friends, and once even returned from the very jaws of death. Because of his habit of playing with danger, many friends often refused to go with him. And this time, too, that's exactly what happened. One day, Aron and his friends planned a hiking trip, but just a few days before departure, his friends backed out. Aron had no intention of going alone, so he thought of spending this free time elsewhere. He decided to head toward Utah, but where exactly in Utah, he hadn't yet decided. Usually, whenever Aron went alone, his roommates knew where he was heading. But this time, since even he himself didn't know, he only told his friends in passing. On the way, he finally decided to go to Canyonlands National Park, Utah, where he would climb through different unnamed slot canyons for 5 days. Slot canyons are deep, narrow valleys that cut through tall, rocky mountains and plains. Canyonlands National Park is filled with them. Each year, nearly 800,000 tourists visit. But because the park stretches over thousands of square kilometers, 95% of its land remains deserted and empty. One such hidden canyon was called Blue John Canyon. On Saturday, April 26, 2003, around 9 in the morning, Aron reached Canyonlands National Park. He parked his truck on a dirt road, 15 miles away from Blue John Canyon, and then rode his bicycle toward the canyon. He carried supplies for just one day. 2 burritos for liters of water, and a few climbing tools. Riding swiftly, he reached the entrance of Blue John Canyon and began his hike on foot. By around 2:30 in the afternoon, Aron had traveled 7 miles inside the canyon. 15 minutes later, he began descending deeper. From above, the canyon looked about 11 to 12 feet deep, its narrow walls tightening like a drain, with massive boulders jammed between them. Aron carefully stepped downward, placing his feet on rocks one by one. Ahead, he found a boulder the size of a bus tire. His plan? To hang from it and then drop down to the canyon floor. Holding the edge firmly, he prepared to lower himself. But before he could shift his full weight, he heard the rock grinding. The boulder was moving. He quickly released his grip and dropped straight to the floor. His landing was harder than expected, but he was safe. Yet the very next moment, the boulder rolled down and crashed on his right arm. Aron screamed in pain, struggling desperately to pull himself free. Minutes passed, but reality soon hit him. This was not going to be easy. Trying to calm himself, he hurriedly took out his water bottle and gulped down most of his remaining liter in just 3 sips. But then it struck him. He could be stuck here for an unknown amount of time. He would now have to ration whatever was left. His arm was already turning blue from loss of blood circulation. If nothing was done soon, he could lose it completely. Aron pulled out everything from his backpack. A CD player, batteries, a camera, a headlamp, ropes, pulleys, and a multi-tool knife. No cell phone, no way to call anyone. He realized he had only 3 possible options. Try to chip away the rock with his knife, use ropes to make a pulley system and lift it, or the unthinkable, cut off his own arm. Of course, he didn't want to consider the last one. So first, he tried to break the rock with his knife. Hours turned into night, but not even a corner of the boulder shifted. The next morning, he attempted a pulley system, but with one hand, his efforts were useless. By now, 24 hours had passed. Defeated, he picked up his camera and recorded a message. This is Sunday, 3:05 p.m. I've been trapped in Blue John Canyon for 24 hours. My name is Aron Ralston. Whoever finds this video, please take it to my parents. With tears in his eyes, he said goodbye to his family. But his nightmare had only begun. As hunger, thirst, and pain consumed him, he finally started thinking about his last option. What if he cut his arm free? The thought of blood loss terrified him. He imagined tying his drinking tube around his arm to slow the bleeding. But his knife was dull. Cutting bone would be impossible. By the 3rd day, his water was gone. He began drinking his own urine just to survive. Time blurred into agony, hallucinations, guilt, and endless thirst. He cursed himself for not telling anyone where he was going. By the 5th day, 120 hours trapped, he had lost almost all hope. Then, as he drifted into a half-dream, he saw a vision. A little boy, no older than 3, reaching out to him. Aron knew this was his future son. He reached to lift him up, but noticed his right arm was gone. Cut off. Exactly the one now pinned under the boulder. Aron woke with a jolt. He had no son at the time, but he took it as a sign. This was his chance at life. Summoning all his strength, he realized he didn't need to cut the bone. He could break it. His arm was bent awkwardly behind the rock, high enough to use leverage. With sheer willpower, he forced his body down. Snap! The bone broke. With his dull knife, he sawed through the remaining flesh and tendons and freed himself at last. But the ordeal wasn't over. Bleeding heavily, he still had to hike miles back to his truck. Weak, exhausted, using just one arm, he climbed out of the canyon. A short distance ahead, he encountered a family of hikers. They gave him food, water, and quickly called for help. After 127 hours, 5 nights, and 6 days trapped, Aron Ralston was finally rescued by helicopter. He had lost 40 pounds in weight and a quarter of his blood. Months later, a rescue team returned and removed the 360-kilogram boulder with hydraulic jacks. On his 28th birthday, Aron revisited the canyon with a TV crew to share his story. But this was only the beginning. He became a celebrity, a best-selling author of Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And in 2010, his ordeal was turned into the Oscar-nominated film 127 Hours. The arm-cutting scene was so intense that many fainted while watching. In February 2020, his first son was born, the same boy he had seen in his vision years earlier. Soon after recovery, Aron resumed his climbing mission. By 2005, he became the first person ever to climb all 59 of Colorado's 14 airs, solo in winter. Today, Aron Ralston not only climbs with a prosthetic arm, but also works as a corporate motivational speaker, charging thousands of dollars for a single session. In one of his speeches, he recalled the accident and said, "I lost my arm, but I gained back my life." We hope you will like and share this iFlare TV video. Thank you for your kind comments. See you in the next thrilling story.